Nation patwa so e pampi Ever so say yede ensem no enchemu a ewo mu ede ebremo na nabo amasi good evening me wa Hamburg e na mehwe mo or the twice level go ha wo mo esasa good evening ama we free yes silent boy ho demi for adun so se ko nie e na we so se me bi se o anya bi adenti na se achi wo bi so ama o man na boka na ahemfo ebi achire no aba beta asa ni panechi onye ni se ha adwen ana Ben Sam message no Ben wa kire wa adwen we so say abusiafo mechiamo ye jo so eni tabuatin na echa ye ni we so say me waka so o mi ni say na mo me sure say na mo Isaac man or Millennium City the church am nyina Evans Pepra was your husband bravo you are looking so good me that say say good evening, I'm watching you live from Italy. Greeting to my mother from França Manso said Umami why who said oh that's so kind man why I say Maba okay oh Asharaja oh okay Papi Kojo Yatonka Yensha and Samno I say ama when the Kwami dia nyade yeni mo okay the 10 year and I am for no a back court main reason one de ba ye say in fact omotina court them who na say
omotina court them
omodo montuma like
omo
the subject na ya no metina
am buy am getmas
hey
they came to say
area the central region
ba ko amene ni di nkomo che Sophie Abenaze
okay
wo ho wana mene ni di nkomo ayi bisa ni say na wadaroma say de watwa mu hwen ya wo ko ide na so Sophie Abenaze na on be support omode hie owura to force enti no buy for just say enti no buy na omati say nkrofo kekasa say ya to force mpa hwi na bibia amfa omo ho na omati say owura Jakpa kan wo court dem say attorney general na ka che ni say sebe ye nuanom fantefo efo oyusu kasa say they are cheap na nchemo de bae ene say owura Jakpa chire mu chire court ni say ebro ni attorney general hia ya na attorney general ka che ni say omwa no na say omtimi di nkunim na ye sentence owura to force na eho ye be ko by election ye ko by election dia de tie bia say ye nuanom fantefo they are very cheap tini hian so benye sika ne so de omwo deda tom di sika be wura se ya na say omadi nkunim ewo ho enti sa kasa na oka ye no eno na hemfo na ese da bio aso matena se din yasumu na ehwe se eji be pa chew ewo ho beto se se mere won pa chew enti ene ba wo mo ba ye no wo mo che se on ba be support we moral support spiritual support emotional support ni nyina bi wo mo de ba na nya hemfo ne nkwanso na ba ene supporters ni de ejejai enya sam ketwa emrante ne maba wa no mu etu o nan pem ho eto akonyum to nyum esa de se na asa so ndem ayekwato offering now se de twa ye ho oh omo ball mu nsam kra megaphone e de ba enya sam ketwa court anim wona na enya sam ketwa na enya sam ketwa but ahemfo ne che se omaba na omo ba san ka omo wewe eji ankasa na you see me I see you no ma ka omo adwen a kire no and it is oh, and a cry, which I'm going. Tina de Bombay, Matutum, Tomatum, Chacham, Kama, and on the bay. Me who bear me in some.
Wow, I was a woman, woman, sound, mamma,
Sound
background, nice, sound, mamma, background, why? I was there for way a year, Samamo, any Jama, Womo, Ashi, or Court anymore. Now, Central Region Chairman, Professor Richard Asidu, and his and Jeff Wakasaka crack. Now, Yinti and someone, what did you do?
This is persecution or persecution because what is happening doesn't show that and as my congregation
Angel FM,
just a matter of principle, but they're just abusing it to make sure that the person is in. It is true that we want to do that. So I was not surprised.
Because the last I said the video because before then I'm doing videos now. I don't know why.
To reason and person in the friendship of women so that it will help them by election and the advantages achieved. For us to be taught to win, that is the claim of
traffic being so war
and also
oh, na second na seven.
I'm saying straight bullet. It's Jakpa idea. They don't know what they need.
The document there.
to let you know that we are not
Our better.
I was for way a year court, dear, and a see any be and washing or not. Dear, what of us has sent me, I must say, they are papa and being any Richard Jakpa. For no third accused person, there was a controversial ambulance and sense anything. Now, and then Attorney General Urban Watcher say, oh, Abrante ya modern wapa say, one no chess and many being common, and me can't say. Woman na to force in young fan na yankoya by election na sante fante for the more for Momoka Credia, or Betua Mount, I can see a comedian yes seat, and now so cram a gyro now what Tony at the no. Jakpa HSS answering nobody one dance your court. Attorney General bra audio no buy anything. Oh yeah, you can say one thing home free when cross examination and I'm saying name fan of one. You see what you to the aka the ICC what the full thing ever been blame pa no have change Jakpa something small. The tell me say and now wakwaso sankra cha bi dia ba a ehwe say Jakpa 2007 afia pem efiem pino ene nso no wo ye na dwen so wo ko soja em wo ko soja soja no a wo mu no a de hu ya ne se ya dismiss no mesi a ya mesi ya say ya pam no afi soja no se won ko fie enkodi ne yire aduane because or your insubordinate or your insubordination remember like me act no or you be a wo mu ade enu achi no ne niema a woda na di nyina no ye not and a capital not just say nye na ne nyina mu no just wo pam no ti wonye obi a ye betun age na di ye say wo afoje nkrata bebre we are not in China ready boy sound na sha see ebo.
Let's hear you. I want to correct some misconception and mischief that is the Attorney General and the government have created and using their surrogate media houses to be peddling falsehoods, twisting proceedings of the court, and then bringing out evidence that I have no idea about and trying to put it on me. I want to address this.
Okay.
The Attorney General brought a pile of documents to the court about my military career. I left the military about 17 years ago. Now he brought a document purporting that I have committed certain crimes according to the letter. In fact, that letter I was not copied. I have no knowledge of that letter. And that letter are allegations that are unsubstantiated, unfounded, and I was never confronted with by the military 17 years ago. And that letter is purported to have been written by one Brigadier General Ahiaglo.
You know him?
In fact, I know Brigadier General Ahiaglo. He's dead. He's deceased years ago. And he wrote that letter on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff, who was by then Major General Odote. So Brigadier General Ahiaglo was a staff officer to the Chief of Army Staff. So he wrote on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff. So this unfounded allegation that I was never confronted with, I was never made known of, a secret report document that they wrote to the Chief of Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, who reports to the Chief of Defense Staff, the CDS. I have no knowledge about it. In fact, today is the first day I saw that letter, dated, I think, 22nd or so of 2007, about 17 years ago. Now, in that letter that I have no idea about, they claim I consistently engage in fraudulent conduct. And when you use the word consistent, it means I didn't engage in fraudulent conduct once, several. Yet the military that I know will not countenance such a behavior once, even for it to become consistent, without charging you, trying you, whether by your commanding officer or appropriate superior authority or by a court martial. I've never even gone on an interview on it. I have no knowledge of all those, that such a letter had been written by 7 military officers in order to get me out of the military without my knowledge. I was not made known about that.
Did that surprise
But
you?
unfortunately,
Why didn't you make it clear to the court when
given the opportunity? In fact, the Attorney General was so mischievous that he presented a document, asked me to read it per the court rules. I read it, and then after reading it, he jumped into a different area so that I wouldn't have the opportunity to dissect that letter and expose the mischief and the unfounded allegation and the secret diabolical letter that was written in order to paint me black when I was in the armed forces during the MPP's time when they were in power in 2007.
Was that document not part of the disclosures made?
No, it was not part of disclosure. It was just brought today to the court. And in fact, that document has nothing to do with the ambulance case as we are dealing with now, at all.
But you understand they want to undermine your credibility. That's what they are doing. And prosecution is allowed to do that.
I agree. You do that, but then you do that with substantiated, incontrovertible evidence. Not someone who has written a secret document about someone and the person was never confronted. He has no knowledge about it to even defend himself or to even speak to that particular those allegations. 17 years ago. And the surprising thing about the whole of that document was that what that letter was alleging was not upon which I was released from the service. That's even the surprising thing about it. I was released under a clause in our armed forces administration volume. It's a law which states that I am being released for lack of application or interest. Lack of application or interest has nothing to do with misconduct and service terminated, which is purely under the discretion of the CDS of the Ghana Armed Forces. So I was not dismissed, I was not released out of misconduct. In fact,
were you released out of indebtedness to several people and institutions, which is part of what you read in Open Book?
Not at all. In fact, the release quoted the clause in the Armed Forces Administration law, quoted it clearly. And in that law, it talks about lack of application or interest, service terminated. And I was paid all my gratuity fully. The Armed Forces paid my gratuity fully. And also, in the release, there was an arrangement for the Armed Forces to bear the full cost of transportation of all my household, which as we speak now, they have not even paid it to me.
No, if you look at the document that I was confronted with, do you feel hurt?
Yeguso ewo kasiyebo no emu we no a long documentary play na ye call ye mo fan share ye mfidie no eje ye ne no tina ama wonte ye nka na mom de ekoso court animu ho.
We speak. Kofi Adoma has not been able to swear any oath, any affidavit to deny any of these allegations. He rather sought the services of a state attorney at his office to deny the assertions for him. Today, he was confronted by Mr. Jakpa again with those same assertions, and you could not rebut those assertions. So clearly, Kofi Adoma is a sinking man who is clutching onto straws, trying to obfuscate issues and confuse lay men, and we must treat those irresponsible comments he made in London with a pinch of salt and the contempt he deserves. But on what happened today, first of all, you saw the Deputy Attorney General urging on Mr. Jakpa that the conversation he had with Kofi Adoma was a 26-minute conversation, because some of their communicators have been making that argument, and that they only brought to court a 16-minute audio recording, trying to impugn the authenticity of that thing. But Mr. Jakpa reiterated the point we have always made, and you couldn't see the Attorney General push back, which was that he recorded that 16 minutes, 5 seconds tape about 9 to 10 minutes into the conversation, and there is nothing wrong with that. If you call me for a conversation, and in good faith I have the conversation with you without recording, but I see that you are proceeding on a criminal tangent, at some point I can choose to record. If I even record 1 second of that conversation, and that 1 second tape captures you committing a crime, telling me to falsify my testimony, telling me to testify to your theory and what you know to be true and not what I know to be true, telling me to procure a fake medical exclusivity and all that. It doesn't matter that it is a 1 second tape. What matters is whether or not you said what is contained on that thing. And today, Jakpa, reiterated that point very, very beautifully. Also, as the Dishonorable Attorney General Kofi Adoma has consistently demonstrated and displayed, today you saw a display of ignorance and illiteracy on very basic things that you expect a person who occupies such high office, to understand. But before I go into those issues, it's important for us to respond to certain reckless and irresponsible comments that have been made by the Dishonorable Attorney General Kofi Adoma. I'm sure that over the last few days you've seen videos of the Attorney General somewhere in London in the United Kingdom claiming that the case of the accused persons have crumbled under cross-examination. It is important to put it on record that the only person whose case has crumbled, the only person who has been exposed as a crooked character, a dishonorable character, and a liar throughout the proceedings is not Mr. Jakpa, neither is it Honorable Atufose, but rather Kofi Adoma. You would recall that when Mr. Jakpa dropped his bombshell of 23rd May 2024 and asserted in open court under oath that the Attorney General has sought to coerce and impress upon him to implicate the Honorable Atufose, the Attorney General issued a press release. And in that press release, he was categorical that he has not met or contacted or sought the cooperation of any of the accused persons. He was categorical. It's been established beyond every reasonable doubt that that claim by the Attorney General was palpable falsehood. He lied. Because he himself has indeed confirmed in open court that contrary to what he stated in that press release, he's been meeting Jakpa at odd hours. He's been calling him, he's been texting him. Yet, he claimed to the media that he had not at any point in time made contact with Mr. Jakpa or any of the accused persons. You will also recall
woman and some no efa woman honey woman court no and out say woman church woman and some emuno. And to sabre woman church say Jakpa crowd yes I will video no there or can yen say we say what person Attorney General Baba swear on oath. Now, some court ready, you swear oath that I'm anti swear on oath being.
And na Jakpa can say Attorney General say and Krata or the by Rebecca say there was an audio 26 minutes audio and not this 16 by not just say unsa ofa phone na ofrobia say me friend Brakofia enya bom pene a men recording and na say me ne Brakofi di nkomo na me say sa nkomo na me ni wo bono bibia enim a etia mbra esay bibia men recording na mom ye di nkomo ne kodu ba bi na me hunu say enkomo yi baby akeka ko edie manhwe ya me ho beche me eno na metimi a recording enti Jakpa che say sansem na o kan ya Attorney General meyi ne ho ano say enye nokore say na o hye ne chenchena che atwan say o medi adanse entie owura to forcing enye nokore say o ka che ne say o mampani ene onunyanfo ken oforiata ena na hye ne say ye tie bia ne ma ne pressure say anka mebusumi die na ye wie eno no say one ordinary audio aba or the evidence aba Attorney General say we bema ade no ma branch be friend Richard Jambibi or no ene so affidavit e de krata be go court or ye bema so no wa be gina dakem ene wa so wa kan tamadi
ama ye nya wo mo affidavit ne ma wo mo no wo mo David wo mo ho Goliath so ye be to aso
Execution of our minority leader. That forcing is one of the heavyweight in the central.
Did you say prosecution or persecution?
Persecution, because what is happening doesn't show that it is being prosecuted. And as my communication officer just said, it's just a matter of principle. But they are just abusing it to make sure that the person is imprisoned. And it is totally wrong to do that. So I was not surprised when he made that comment that they should try as much as possible to imprison Atufose in the first week of May so that it will help them to create by-election, and the advantages are cheap for us to be bought to win the forcing seats.
That is the claim of Richard Jakpa, but I want to know, based on this claim, how is the mood like in your region, your people, first of all, before we come to the NDC?
Yeah, we are worried because, as I said last time, the Central Region has produced intellectuals, people who have occupied the position of presidency in this country. We have all levels of professionals in this country from the Central Region, and more so, education started from Central Region. So it's a standard of education, and for Kofi Adoma to come out to describe the region as cheap is quite an unfortunate statement. And we have to come here today to bear our teeth, to let him know that we are not cheap. I will say that those who are cheap are those people who vote for MPP in Central Region. But we have responsible people in the Central Region. Also, look at me. Look at my legs. Wow. I'm a straightforward person. Wow. I'm not crooked in any way. So how can Kofi Adoma compare himself even to me than the whole Central Region where we have produced a president and vice president in this country? So Central Region is deeply worried, and we have told our chiefs, because they are the custodians of the land, that they should come out. Else, we shall come out as subjects. Normally, we have to respect our chiefs, but we've waited for about 2 weeks. We are not hearing from them. So last week, the region had, this week, the region had a press conference to express our grievances as to why the chiefs are still quiet, and even to the extent of not talking about forces issue. We have left the young man to his own fate, and that is terrible. Today, you've seen a lot of fights here. We are here to support our own, and we want to tell Kofi Adoma that we are not cheap. We will not insult his people. Well, I don't know where he comes from, but we know civilization started from Cape Coast, and we are not cheap. I know one or two people have made themselves cheap. I know a former regional chairman who have made a system for people to describe us as cheap. But let me tell you something, we are not cheap people. And if not politics, Kofi Adoma cannot compare himself to even the ordinary regional chairman that has stand here. If not politics, who is Kofi Adoma in the first place? So we are here to bear our feet. We are waiting for him to come out, for us to tell him that, straight in the face, that he is nobody in the Central Region. We don't even recognize him. He has his hometown where he stays, and he left the place to come to school at Adesada and Fantipem. Why did he come to school at Central Region? To attain education, after tell us that we are cheap.
Well, I'm sorry to let you know that he's already left. So